Alright, so this is the video for section 7.5, and in this section we are going to be solving rational equations. So hopefully at least the first part of this is review. Okay, so remember anytime we're solving two fractions that involve algebra, anytime there's an equal sign, we can cross multiply, or some of you have learned the butterfly method or whatever. So we're just going to take 3 times 4x plus 5 is equal to 9 times x plus 1. And from here, just do a normal algebra problem. So this is 12x plus 15 equals 9x plus 9. Okay, subtract 9x from both sides. We have 3x plus 15 equals 9. Subtract 15, subtract 15. We get 3x equals negative 6. We divide both sides by 3. You get x equals negative 2. Okay, hopefully that's a review. So go ahead, pause this video, do be on your own, and then we'll move forward with some new stuff. All right, so hopefully you paused this and worked it out, and when you did, you should have gotten that x equals negative 4. All right, let's look at example 2 now. Okay, so this is a word problem, and this can be kind of confusing, so we're going to break it down into words before we start throwing numbers at it. All right, so it says an alloy is formed by mixing 2 or more metals. Okay, sterling silver is an alloy composed of 92.5% silver and 7.5% copper by weight. Okay, right now we have 15 ounces of 800 grade silver, which is 80% silver and 20% copper. Okay, so we want to find out how much pure silver do we need to add here to make my 800 grade silver be sterling silver. Okay, so the difference right now is what we have has 20% copper in it. And we want sterling silver, which only has 7.5% copper in it. So, if you will, we want to make the alloy we have now have more silver in it. So we have to know how much straight silver we have to add to it. Okay, so if we put it into words, okay, we'd have the percent of copper in the mixture is equal to the weight of the copper in the mixture divided by the total weight. Okay, that should be nothing new to you, right? Like when I do a test, you have how many correct out of total number possible. So it's the part out of the whole. Okay, so this is how you'd find the percentage of copper in a mixture. Okay, well, we want sterling silver, which is 7.5% copper. So if I change that to a decimal, 0.075, okay, that's going to equal, okay, the weight of the copper I have now, I have 20% in 15 ounces, so I could just do 15 times 0.2. Okay, that's how I'd find 20% of 15. Okay, the total weight, right now we have 15, but I'm going to add pure silver. Okay, so I'm going to add X amount of pure silver. Okay, from here I want to solve for X. Okay, so anytime we have a fraction, first thing I want to do is I want to multiply by the denominator. So I'm going to multiply by 15 plus X. Okay, and when I do that, these cancel out, and I'm left with 15 plus X times 0.075, and that's going to equal 15 times 0.2. Okay, now 15 times 0.2 gives me 3. Okay, so 0.075 equal, 0.075 times 15 plus X is going to equal 3. Okay, now I can distribute this if I want, but I'm not going to. I'm going to divide it by 0.075. That'll keep me from having to distribute. So 3 divided by 0.075 gives me 40. So 15 plus x has to equal 40. Okay, if I subtract 15 from both sides, I get x has to equal 25. So I want to add 25 ounces of pure silver to make my copper amount drop to 7.5%. All right, let's look at example 3 now. Okay, I'm adding fractions and I know what it equals. So just like when I added fractions before, I can't add or subtract unless I have a common denominator. Okay, so my lowest common denominator, I have an x and a 4 and an x. My least common denominator would just be 4x. Okay, so I want to change all the denominators to 4x. So 5 over x. Okay, to get this to 4x, I'd have to multiply by 4 over 4. Okay, then I'm going to add 7 over 4, and to get my denominator to 4x, I'll multiply by x over x. And that equals negative 9 over 4, and to get, 9 over x. And to get that to 4x, I'd multiply by 4 over 4. Okay, and when I do this, when I multiply straight across, I get 20 over 4x plus 7x over 4x is going to equal negative 36 over 4x. Okay, well now that I have these same denominators, I can put these together. I can go ahead and add straight across. So this is 20 plus 7x over 4x is going to equal negative 36 over 4x. Okay, now anytime I have a fraction, I can multiply by the reciprocal, so this is kind of magical. So if I multiply both sides by 4x, those go away, and now I'm not dealing with a fraction anymore. So 20 plus 7x equals negative 36. Okay, subtract 20, subtract 20. I get 7x equals negative 56. Divide both sides by 7. I get x equals negative 8. All right, let's look at part B for example 3. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and write this out but factor the denominator. So I have 4x plus 1 over x plus 1 equals 12 over, and I'm going to factor x squared minus 1 is difference of squares, so x minus 1, x plus 1, plus 3, and I'm just going to put 3 over 1. Okay, so as I can see here, my LCD, my least common denominator, is going to be x minus 1, x plus 1. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and change that right here. So that means the 4x plus 1 over x, I need to add x minus 1 over x minus 1 to this term. Okay, this middle term is fine. I have the denominator that I want. And then I'm going to have to multiply x minus 1, x plus 1 over x minus 1, x plus 1. All right, so when I do that, I'm now left with 4x plus 1 x minus 1 over x minus 1, x plus 1. That's going to equal, I'm going to go ahead and multiply or add these together. So 12 plus 3 parentheses, x minus 1, x plus 1 over x minus 1, x plus 1. Okay, now that I have the same denominator on both sides of the equation, I can go ahead and multiply by that denominator. So I can multiply both sides by x minus 1, x plus 1, and what happens is those cancel each other out. Okay, so I'm just left with 4x plus 1, x minus 1. That's going to equal, and I'm going to put 3 parentheses, x squared minus 1 plus 12. Okay, I just rewrote that right side a little bit. All right, now if you FOIL this out or put it in a box or whatever, you should get 4x squared. That's minus 3x minus 1. That's going to equal, if I distribute this 3 through, 3x squared minus 3, and then plus 12 at the end. Okay, so if I take it one step further, 4x squared minus 3x minus 1 equals 3x squared plus 9. Okay, here I have a quadratic. So in order to solve for a quadratic, I want to put everything to one side. So I'm going to subtract 3x squared, subtract 9, minus 3x squared, minus 9. And I get, I'm going to move this back over here just because I'm running out of space. I get x squared minus 3x minus 10 is equal to 0. Okay, luckily for us, this factors nicely, right? X minus 5 and x plus 2. So my x here is 5 and negative 2. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to go check both. Okay, so I want to check 5 and I want to check negative 2. Okay, and when I do that, I can just plug that into my calculator. I do get that both of them check out. If you don't believe me, put it in your calculator. Okay, so we do have two solutions, x equals 5 and x equals negative 2. All right, so we're going to do example 4 here. Okay, so if I write this out, I get 6 over x minus 3 equals 8x squared. If I factor this, this is x minus 3, x plus 3, minus 4x over x plus 3. Okay, hopefully you guys are okay with my LCD, and here my least common denominator is going to be x minus 3, x plus 3. Okay, so I'm going to multiply this by x plus 3 over x plus 3. And then this has the denominator I want, so I'm going to multiply this by x minus 3 over x minus 3. Okay, so when I do that, what I get is 6 parentheses x plus 3 over x minus 3, x plus 3. Okay, that's going to equal 8x squared, x minus 3, x plus 3, minus 4x, x minus 3, over x plus 3, x minus 3. Okay, if I go a step further, guys, this is 6 parentheses x plus 3 over x minus 3, x plus 3. That's going to equal 8x squared minus 4 parentheses x minus 3, 4x parentheses x minus 3 over x plus 3, x minus 3. Okay, now I have the same denominators on both sides. So what I can do is I can multiply both sides by the denominator, and what that does is it cancels the denominators out. Okay, so I'm left with 6 parentheses x plus 3 equals 8x squared minus, I'm going to go ahead and distribute this, 4x squared plus 12. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and distribute this and clean this up. So 6x plus 18 equals 8x squared minus 4x plus 12. All right, guys, I totally looked over this x that's right here. So this should be 4x squared plus 12x. All right, that makes it look a little bit better. All right, so now I have a quadratic. Well, let's simplify a little bit more. So 6x plus 18 is equal to 8x squared minus 4x squared, 4x squared plus 12x. Okay, so I have a quadratic, so minus 6x from both sides, minus 18 from both sides because I want it all to equal to 0. Those go away, so I get 0 equals 4x squared plus 6x minus 18. Okay, notice all of these are divisible by 2, so I could divide both sides by 2, perfectly legal. I get 0 equals 2x squared plus 3x minus 9. All right, now I want to factor this. This factors to 2x minus 3 times x plus 3 equals 0. So my solutions are x equals 3 halves and x equals -3.